Hey there, it's time for Tiger Talk, and it's our first basketball program of the year as we talk with Tony Hobson and Mark Johnson right after this. Hello again, everyone, and welcome into Tiger Talk. Gerard Wellbrock with you as we talk Fort Hays State basketball. Yeah, it's our first hoops program of the season as we talk with women's coach Tony Hobson, men's coach Mark Johnson. Both teams on the road to start the season. The ladies in St. Joseph, Missouri, the Drury Inn Tip-Off Classic hosted by Missouri Western. Good start with wins over Upper Iowa and Southwest Minnesota State. We'll talk all about that. The men were up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, where their season ended a year ago in the NCAA Regional, this time taking on Southwest Minnesota State as well as the University of Sioux Falls. Two teams they had narrow home wins against a year ago. Tough second half against the Mustangs on Friday, but the Tigers bounced back on Saturday, I should say, and then bounced back with a big win on Sunday against Sioux Falls. So we're going to talk all about that and more when we return. The program, again, brought to you by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, as well as Mocha's Coffee, Bakery, and Bistro. And we'll talk with women's coach Tony Hobson right after this.
Around here, we believe in local values like hard work, family time, or a fair price on reliable internet from a local company. That's why Eagle Communications delivers great local values, like a range of internet options to fit your family's needs. Fast and consistent enough to power everyone's devices at once. All at reasonable prices we're proud to offer our friends and neighbors. Ready for better internet? Give us a call or visit eaglecom.net and discover our local values today.
And welcome back to Tiger Talk. Gerard Wellbrock, joined by head women's basketball coach Tony Hobson. The program brought to you by Mocha's Coffee, Bakery, and Bistro, and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, North Vine and Hays, the taste that brings you back. And right now, you can get a piece of the old classic Freddy Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, pumpkin pie concrete, fresh and creamy frozen custard blended with whole slice of rich pumpkin pie, the crust and all, topped with whipped cream and sprinkled with cinnamon, only at Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers. Tiger women, after a couple of exhibition games, got the season underway for real this weekend out in St. Joseph, Missouri, the Drury Inn Tip-Off Classic. And a good start, 2-0 with wins over Upper Iowa and Southwest Minnesota State. And couple of exhibitions against Kansas and Creighton, good quality opponents, and I know we talked after those. You felt pretty good that you got a lot out of them, and it's always different when you do it for real. And your team responded. Maybe a bit of a slow start in the first game against Upper Iowa, but boy, great second half. And all in all, you go 2-0 to start the year. It's a good weekend.
Well, it was, and anytime you can go into those type of games and just I would rather get off to a slower start and finish strong than the other way around, because then you aren't sure what happened. But really, probably out of the 8 quarters of basketball, we played 7 good ones. So that opening game against Upper Iowa, we were a little, I don't know, a little hesitant, turned the ball over a few too many times. But once we got going, we kind of established what we wanted to do, and from there on out, it was clear sailing.
Scored 82 points and really didn't get a lot from Nikki Kakperska or from Jill Fax in that game, which is encouraging.
Yeah.
They obviously turned it around, played much better the next day, but the fact you still got 82 and had some other people step up, some of the new young faces on the team, that had to be very exciting for you.
Well, it was, and it's nice to have somebody else, pick up the pieces when maybe they're off a little bit, or the kids that you're planning on scoring, can't hit anything. And really, Jill she wasn't aggressive enough offensively and started passing up shots that she usually takes, and we visited about that, and you will notice that on Saturday she didn't, and she shot much better, but I think she was 1 for 5, Nikki is 1 for 7. So when you can score 82 and kind of still play 3 quarters of good offensive basketball when those two maybe aren't quite as sharp as normal, that's a good sign, and it shows that we have we do have a lot of good offensive players. I mean, defensively, maybe we're a little shaky yet at those spots, but offensively, I think we have a lot of kids that can step up.
Tatiana Leggett on Friday, 10 points, 14 boards, her first double-double, and she showed flashes in the 2 exhibition games, and got a chance, I think, to be one of the most improved players in the MIAA this year. I mean, she showed in those 2 games and carried it over. A really good weekend for her.
Well, it was, and she had a nice game on Saturday too, and it just goes to show what a kid that really believes they can get it done, has a little confidence in themselves, can do for a young person especially, and that's the total difference between last year and this year for her. Naturally, she got some good experience last year, and that should have helped her. She's bigger and stronger, and like you said, she just looked like she just felt comfortable and isn't afraid to try to make plays. And you can't play this game trying to avoid making mistakes, you know, and that's kind of where she is at last year. But this year, she's playing with a lot of confidence.
Saturday against Southwest Minnesota State, you score 83 points, 21 steals. That's the most since 2011 for a Tiger women's program. You converted into 23 points. Kind of get turned out. What was your MO last year to win basketball games? Got the steal and scored off of them.
Well, that's surprising, and that's the most.
I was stunned myself.
Yeah, I don't keep track of that stuff very well, but we got them in a lot of bad situations in the full court, and did a good job of timing our traps, and you know, the thing is, we have so much depth right now. We're playing, you know, 10 kids, double-figure minutes, and a lot of those happen in the second half when we just wear people out, and it happened in the first game too. I mean, the difference between the first quarter and the last quarter was it was huge, just because we weren't tired and it looked like they were. So we played better defensively, but still, we are probably going to make a lot of steals, but we're probably going to give up a lot of layups too, because sometimes, I mean, we're a bunch of riverboat gamblers right now. We all want to make steals and go in for layups, and sometimes that's not the best play, but they're playing hard and trying to get it done, and as long as they do that, we'll be able to work with that.
Emma Stroyan never missed a shot, 7 for 7, scored 14, 7 boards, 5 blocks, a couple of assists, one of the newcomers, post player in to your squad, and good to see her have a nice game. Obviously, she's going to play a key role this season.
Well, she will, and the thing about Emma is she doesn't really force anything, and there might be games where she has 4 points, there might be games where she has 20. It just depends what they give us. And she is a good shooter from really 18 feet and in. She can go either way, left or right, from the block, and she's just a steady player. I think somebody we're going to be able to depend on, game in and game out. And that's what I kind of like, is just somebody that you know kind of what you're going to get. It isn't a surprised gift, you know, at Christmas where this isn't a grab bag gift. This is something, you know, you're going to get every game.
Tigers get the 2 wins, and guess what? They go back on the road this weekend as they travel even further up to Minnesota. St. Cloud, in fact, for a couple of more games, and we'll talk about the upcoming competition this weekend for the Tiger women when we return. Tiger Talk presented by Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro, as well as Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, and we're back right after this.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country, and yes, before that we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a listen live link at hayespost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, real country. 99 KZ Country.
Welcome back to Tiger Talk. Gerard Wellbrock, head women's basketball coach Tony Hobson. The program brought to you by Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro, 27th and Indian Trail, and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, North Vine in Hayes. The taste that brings you back. We'll talk about the weekend ahead. I got to ask you about the newcomers, especially the freshmen, because you got a lot of them, 7 of them, and quite a few contributing here early on in the season. And it's always a step going from the high school level to the collegiate level, irregardless of the talent. But boy, you can see why you were excited about this recruiting class. You can really see that raw talent out there. How they adjusted to the college game and their play so far here early on in the season.
Well, we've got 3 of them that are playing, are in our regular rotation and playing a lot of minutes. Casey Kennett, Taylor Rolfs, Madison Mitty. Maddie's in the starting lineup. The other 2 are some of the first kids off the bench we have. Really, right now, I would be comfortable starting probably 9 or 10 kids because they're all capable. But it's also important that it doesn't bother him to come off the bench, and that's where we're at with T, with Leggett, is because she doesn't care, and I think she almost likes it a little bit to kind of watch a little bit. But the freshmen are first of all they're kind of struggling defensively because we demand that you get out in the passing lanes, and it's getting them in a little trouble. And you saw Maddie get a couple little quick fouls on Saturday because they're not used to doing that, and they're all good enough athletes that eventually they will be able to defend. But what I like is that offensively they're ready to go kind of right now, and they're not gun shy, they're not afraid of the moment. They will catch and shoot and take the shots, and they're not wondering whether they should or shouldn't. So you get, Taylor Ross will take a shot, and that's okay. So will Casey. And Maddie probably is a little less, offensive-minded, but she will definitely take an open shot. So what I like about them is they're some of our hardest workers, and I think part of that is just passed down from Jill and Nikki and Taylor Chandler. They see what they do on a daily basis, and they know what's expected of them. So it's nice to have that example set, but it's also nice to have these freshmen that are coming in ready to just hit the ground running. And really, there's a couple other freshmen I would like to have more time for on the floor because, they're going to play for us eventually. Belle Barbieri, Lindsay Shoup's a good player. We have we have Robin Ritzema from out west, who's a 6'3" kid that I think has a lot of promise. We did redshirt Kylie Casper from Russell, just kind of because of that same situation. I think she's going to be able to play for us. It's just not this year,
right? Because
we're pretty deep, and knock on wood, if we stay healthy, we should remain that way. So we're excited about our young kids, and one kid that we have that's playing just excellent and has improved about every facet of her game. That's kind of under the radar is Taylor Chandler. Nobody's really talking about Taylor, and that's okay. That's fine with her. She's a quiet kid, but she had 2 really solid games, and she's really picked up her intensity level. Defensively, she's kind of where it starts for us. She just causes trouble, and wherever she's at, she causes trouble. So it's a good thing, and she's playing real well for us too.
Got 12 points in the game on Friday with Upper Eye. I do like the idea of you starting 9 or 10. I like your chances if you can do that, but I think your opponent may have a little bit to say about that. All right, let's talk about the weekend. You're back on the road, long road trip, St. Cloud, Minnesota, St. Cloud State Friday, Bemidji State Saturday, teams from the Northern Sun. And St. Cloud gave you a good battle in Hayes a year ago. They ended up winning by 12. It's just a very physical, big team. Is going to be some different style of play, and then Bemidji off to a 1-0 start. So these region games are always important for down the road. You never know what happens, but it'll be a good test for your team a long ways on the road here this weekend.
Well, it would be. I mean, it's an early season gut check for sure, just because of the distance, the difference in officials, and you can just see them kind of laying in wait up there. They had 2 home games already, so they haven't been on the road, so they're well rested. But it'll be a test for us, and if we can go up there and somehow beat those 2 teams on the road, I think that'll be a good statement and a good start. The thing that scares me about St. Cloud is just they have 3 kids that can just light it up and really hit threes. They have, I think, 3 returning starters, but two very nice players, a point guard and a wing player that are would both be all-conference players in our conference, I think. So, like you said, last year we ended up winning by 12, but it was a 3-point game with about under 2 minutes, and we hit all of our free throws down the stretch. I would expect to see them throw a big fat zone at us for part of the game. You know, we saw that in the region finals against Winona. And as we look back, and we wondered where they got that zone and that idea. And when we look back at this St. Cloud film from last year, that's what they did. They played exactly the same zone in the fourth quarter. So I'm imagining that got kind of passed down, and that's what they came back on us. So we'll have to be prepared for that. And I think we're a little more equipped to attack a zone this year than we were last, just because we have better perimeter shooting. And actually, I think we passed the ball better too. So hopefully we'll be able to kind of weather that storm up there.
Well, hopefully it's not too big of a storm, and hopefully it's a good weekend for the Tigers up in Minnesota. Coach, we appreciate the time. Safe travels, best of luck, and look forward to talking to you again next week.
Okay, thanks, Gerard.
That's head coach Tony Hobson of the Tiger Women. Again, Tiger Talk brought to you by Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro, as well as Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers. We'll take a time out. We'll shift gears, talk with men's coach Mark Johnson when we return right here on Tiger Talk.
Ready to discover something new? The next time you're in your car, tune your radio to 94.3 FM.
It's here.
It's Hayes' greatest hits.
Love it.
On 1400 KAYS and 94.3 FM.
94.3 FM, KAYS. Go ahead, check us out.
And welcome back to Tiger Talk, presented by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, as well as Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro. You can start your day off right with a great hot cup of coffee, some of the specialty drinks as well, and of course they've got something for every meal at Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro. Don't forget about the drive-thru. They're at 27th and Indian Trail in Hayes. We're joined now by head men's coach Mark Johnson. Tigers get a split in the NSIC MIAA Challenge this weekend up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Tough loss to Southwest Minnesota State on Saturday, but then came back with another nail-biter, beating the University of Sioux Falls by 2. Second year in a row, it's taken a last-second shot to get the win. And I guess all things considered, when you lose by 24 on the first night, to come back and get a split on day 2, it was a successful weekend because you very easily could have come home 0-2.
Yeah, it'd been easy the next day to kind of be pouting and not feeling good about ourselves. And I thought our guys did a great job of coming in, and we really tried to guard the first half. And they got 2 very talented guy. I thought not only on the offensive end, Rob was tremendous with the 33 points and the buzzer beater. He did a great job guarding Mac Johnson, who's a very good player. So, Rob did a lot of things to help us win the game, and we needed a win. I mean, that was going to be a tough trip. We knew both teams experienced. I think Southwest Minnesota State has a chance to have a very, very good year. I think Sioux Falls has, a lot of the pieces that were there a year ago. So, you always would like to win them all, but I think going away there with the split, we can at least build on that and have some confidence going forward.
And you look at the first half on Saturday against the Mustangs of Southwest Minnesota State. I mean, you were right there, and I know you said you probably felt should have been up at halftime instead of down, but about 15 minutes to go. It's a 5-point game. You're hanging around, and then the wheels just kind of fell off.
Yeah, we have at times we're going to have a little bit of struggles to score a little bit. We're not going to be able to light up the scoreboard a lot. Last year you look at your team, you felt like you had 5 guys that had the potential to get into double figures every time we played, and some of them could get over 20 for you. This year, right now, at this point in the season, you probably only feel like maybe you got 2, maybe 3. So we got to get some guys stepping up there and be able to score some points, because we're putting a lot of pressure on our defense, and we've really guarded well both games. The first half have not guarded quite as well the second half, and we're going to have to be a team that guards and not let the other team get a lot of points on the board. I just don't think we're going to win many games, scoring, having to score 85 or 90 for us to win.
Talk about Rob Davis. Southwest Minnesota State held him to 1 3-point try, and then he comes back and he hits 7 of your 9 the next day. Just obviously obviously, the way the game goes, but a good bounce back game for him. And obviously, you needed every one of those, but goes for 33 and hit some really difficult ones and played as well as any game he's played in since he's been a Tiger.
Yeah, he had 36 last year against Central Oklahoma. I think this one at 33 was better just because, they were hanging on him on every shot, and he's going to have to do that for us. Rob has to have the green light to take shots, take tough shots, and really be aggressive and have the other guys play off him. And he was good. Hadley had a really nice weekend offensively. Jaquan, I thought for 3 of the 4 halves, did the things that we need him to do: rebound, be a defensive presence down low, get you about 8 to 10 points. So we feel good about what those 3 guys are doing right now. We need 1 or 2 guys to really emerge over the next few weeks and give us a little bit more than what we're getting right now. We need, you can't just have 3 guys. We need 4 and 5 guys to be able to produce at a good level, and hopefully some guys gain a little confidence from this weekend and just little by little start doing some more things for us.
Turnover is always important, and you look that first game, 19 against Southwest Minnesota State. It's going to be hard for any team to win, but you mentioned some of the limitations offensively, and you throw 19 turnovers in. It's almost impossible. Much better job in that regard on Sunday.
Yeah, we have to take care of the ball, and really turnovers has been a problem in our scrimmages and practice. We finally did a good job. Our goal is between 10 and 13. We say it every year. I think if you have 10 or 13 turnovers, that means you're being aggressive, but you're not being silly and you're valuing the basketball. Obviously you get up 15 to 25, that's too much. Anything below 10, you probably weren't trying to make plays and make things happen. So, we were right in that gap that we're looking for, and we need to continue to be able to do that game after game.
The Tigers get the split in Sioux Falls on Saturday and Sunday with Southwest Minnesota State and the University of Sioux Falls. Now back at home for a couple of non-conference games. Central Christian comes to town on Wednesday, and then tough one on Saturday. Former Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference foe, the Orediggers of Colorado School of Mines. We'll talk about all of that and more when we return right here on Tiger Talk.
We are proud to have Secor Technology Solutions as a part of our Eagle Communications family. We are dedicated to providing homes and businesses with cost-effective IT services, support, and products all under one roof, like
network support, computer repair, virus and spyware removal,
data recovery and cloud backup,
email support,
screen repair.
And above all, you can count on technology done right. Call us at 785-628-1330.
Eagle Communications, our community connected.
Welcome back. It's our final segment here on Tiger Talk, our first basketball installment of the year. Gerard Wellbrock, head coach Mark Johnson. Tiger Talk presented by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, where you can experience delicious cook-to-order food and rich and creamy frozen custard churned fresh throughout the day. It's at Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, North Vine and Hayes. The taste that brings you back. Tigers get their first home games of the year. Central Christian College on Wednesday, Colorado School of Mines on Saturday. Let's start with the Tigers of Central Christian, and you've played them a lot over the years, and a program that keeps getting better and better. And you look at this year's squad, they recognize all the names and all the faces for the most part, a group that's been together through this run. It'll be a very interesting game on Wednesday against a pretty talented team.
I think so. It's the same group we've played really for the last 2 or 3 years. They're very athletic. I've always been, every time we've played them the last 2 to 3 years, really in fear. We've played well. Now those groups are more all juniors and seniors, and it'll be a tough game for us. We'll have to play the right way and make some shots and do some good things to win. It's not just going to be show up and the game is yours. We need to play well, and hopefully we do. We need to keep, like I said, big thing, moving forward, trying to get better. That's what really this early season with the team we have and the challenges of the conference or of the opponents we play. We need to just keep winning enough games to keep our confidence and keep trying to get better.
Well, and you look at it, one thing that you look at your roster, what's a young team, and a lot of the faces played last year, but they were in different roles. Some of them were backups and maybe didn't get the minutes, and now obviously the roles have changed. But then you lose a veteran squad, even though you have a lot of numbers back. It's you're putting, I would guess, and I haven't checked every roster in the conference, what are the younger teams in the MIAA?
Yeah, I mean, we're very inexperienced. And like, you look at the guys that are playing well, they're guys that played the most minutes last year and are playing closer to the same roles they did last year. You know, Rob is being Rob, and Hadley was probably, of everybody coming back, scored the most, had played the most, is the oldest of that group. So it's not surprising that those two are doing what they're doing. It's just everyone else is trying to, get their feet wet and get a little comfortable in their new roles.
Colorado School of Mines on Saturday, a former Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference foe, and what program, since 4 days is left to join the MIAA, they've really elevated. They've made it to the regional final a couple of times. Very solid program, receiving votes in this year's preseason Coaches Top 25, so that'll be a really big early season test, much like what you saw up in South Dakota.
Yeah, I mean, very similar to the teams we played. I think probably better. They're even better than teams we played. I mean, NCAA tournament team from a year ago, won well over 20 games, ranked in a lot of preseason publications, and really have all 5 starters back. So, I mean, they're clicking and are pretty close to who they are. So it'll be a challenge. They've really have gotten good. You look at, I think they've kind of changed their recruiting. Before they always had Colorado kids. Now they're using that engineering degree and what they can offer, and they're going nationwide. And their talent level since we have left the RMAC has really changed overnight, and it'll be a tough game for us.
Well, that's good to know. They've gotten better, and we had some great battles with them over the years, and they were starting to elevate a little bit and becoming a lot more competitive. But it'll be interesting, I'm sure. Obviously, the players involved, but their coach is still there, Pryor Orsa. They're going to make a big deal about this as a former conference foe and to prove what kind of a program they have.
Yeah, they're coming out doing an old RMAC trip. They're playing Fort Hays and Kearney, and they're a big team. They're going to outsize us. They have a good wing who averaged 20 points a game. So it's a good, talented team. They play the right way. It'll be a great early test for us to keep seeing how we're moving and how we're improving and where we're at.
All right, Coach. Well, we appreciate the time. Have a great week of practice. We'll see you Wednesday and Saturday at the Coliseum. Hopefully it's a good week for Tiger basketball.
Okay, thank you.
That's head coach Mark Johnson, and that's going to wrap up our first basketball program of the year for Tiger Talk. It's brought to you again by the Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, the Taco Shop, G&L Tire and Automotive, Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, Adams Brown, Barron and Ball, Couture for Men and Women, BTI, and Horizon Appliance and Electronics. And of course, if you missed any portion of the program, you can always catch it online at HayesPost.com. And of course, the video replay on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on Eagle Cable's Channel 14 and 614, and of course on HayesPost.com. Basketball for the men on Wednesday with Central Christian at 7, and then Saturday afternoon at 4 as they take on the Orediggers from Colorado School of Mines, and of course the women on the road up in St. Cloud, Minnesota for games on Friday and Saturday as well. Program brought to you by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, the taste that brings you back, and Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro at the corner of 27th and Indian Trail in Hayes. For coaches Tony Hobson and Mark Johnson, this is Gerard Wellbrock. So long, everyone.
We get it. You work hard and play hard. Internet should be the last thing slowing you down. Eagle Communications gives you the speed you need so you can play hard and save cash. For a limited time, get 30 meg for $30 or 50 meg for $50 so you could work, play, and save. Call us at 877-61-EAGLE today.